Good evening, beautiful black people. I am your host, CJ Lawrence, CEO of Black with No Chaser, and I'm here with my friend, my good friend, Talamieka Brice. And we're here this
Yes.
evening to talk to you a little bit about the documentary that she's been working on. We're really excited to get into this conversation this evening. A documentary that she's been working on for a while now, that she's put her blood, sweat, and tears into for the last 2 years. Five, a mother's journey, and I'm excited to be here with my friend this evening. How you doing, Talamika?
I am all right. Not too bad. Not too
That's
bad.
what's up.
Excited to be here with you as well. It's been
Yeah,
a it's been a long time coming.
yeah, indeed. Hey, listen, but it's Friday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And hey, we kicking back, relaxing. It's after five, so hey, that's what I'm right there. Hey, that's a very significant picture of Talamika with a cigar that I'm gonna make sure I show before the show is over today. I'm gonna make sure the world sees that because it's an iconic photograph of Talamika that we really enjoy. Uh, it actually went viral a few months ago, maybe this around this time last year
It was
that it went
exactly
viral.
around this time last year.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay. Yeah, I look. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So, uh, yeah, tell me good. Just to give folks some background. I know that you and I talked last year about it was either last year or 2019. We started talking about you working on this project and the inspiration for it. If you could, just can you give us a sense of what five a mother's love entails and what it was that inspired you to make this?
Well, it's like growing up, it was basically my life and my journey to becoming a mother. Growing up in a small town, Mississippi, I had a lot of stories, a lot of memories, a lot of trauma when it comes to seeing my brother grow into a black man. So, um, having the journey of becoming a mom and my son being born during the Ferguson riots and his third birthday being Charlottesville and Donald Trump being president, like there was just a lot of worry that I had. And I went to a festival, a film festival, the Magnolia Film Festival. I think it was 2019, and I was a judge there. And I was watching all these films come through, and I didn't see anything that really represented me. And as a mother, as a creative, there's a lot of stuff that sometimes you just push to the back of your mind. Because my son was 4, but he was about to turn 5.
Yeah,
And when he
right.
turns 5, like he's exposed to school, and I'm not there for him, and the school to prison pipeline, and all that worry, coupled with the fear of what I'd say my brother's journey to manhood was just really weighing on me. And I know if I feel this way, I'm not the only black woman in America. If I feel this way, um, there are a lot of people that do, and I feel like voice there's power in our stories. There's pain in there as well, but there's also pain in that power. So I had it on my mind, and thankfully there was a very diverse group of people that were there, and I got a chance to talk to the filmmakers afterwards. And I had
Mhm.
this story in my heart, but most people that know me is I'm a trained fine artist, so I
Yes.
could draw and paint, photograph, logo design, that type of thing. But film is not really my avenue.
Was
Um,
not.
wasn't
Was
Yeah,
not.
correct
Was
me.
not.
Yes, was not
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
was not really my avenue. And I just kind of just a lot of encouragement from them. They were like, look, you can do this. And I didn't know how, but I had this story just sitting in my gut, and I had to get it out. It's like it was almost smothering me. I had to get it out.
My goodness. I I mean, I know this story well. I think we all know it well as black folk in Mississippi. Obviously, the impetus of the civil rights movement itself started with a young black boy's death. That young black boy being Emmett Till in Money,
Right.
Mississippi, uh, Greenwood, Mississippi. To those who aren't familiar with Money, Mississippi, and so when you and I talked about it, uh, it was prior to George Floyd occurring, and but it was something that mattered to us significantly. I see Cynthia out there and Macy out there. Hey, how y'all doing? Thank y'all for tuning in and chiming in. Um, and when you talked about your son basically being born around the time of Ferguson, uh, I would say that Ferguson was the first reckoning uh, within this movement. And we talk about Ferguson, we talking about the assassination of Michael Brown
Yeah.
uh, by police officer Darren Wilson. We're talking about people raising millions of dollars in support of Darren Wilson.
Yeah.
And so um, I could only imagine being a mother giving birth to a black boy around the same time that this is occurring, and in the backdrop you have uh, you know, Trayvon Martin having happened in 2011 and Eric Garner happening almost right after, immediately before or after Michael Brown. Because of the timeline, sometimes my mind gets mixed up
Right.
about it. But
Right.
so tell me, as a mother raising a black son, uh, what is it about year five for you that is so significant? What is it about year five that made you call this movie, this film, Five: A Mother's Journey?
Well, it's a lot of things. I mean, if we back up to before that, like I honestly did not know if I could even have kids, um, because the first child that we conceived, it was right after he came back from Afghanistan, resulted in a miscarriage. So I didn't know, and it was shortly after, and the film deals with this. It was shortly after my father passed. One of the things that he said to me, and I knew it would be the last time that I see him and all of that. And I left out of his room was, "Where's she going with the baby?" And Charles and I were like confused, like, "What baby?" And then 6 weeks later, surprise, you're pregnant.
Wow. Wow.
So that really goes to, that's why my kids are named what they're named. Like Love, my daughter, I tried to give them an honor. I
Mhm.
tried to give them instructions in their name about what to do in life. So here's this honor Kal-El, which loosely translates to honor the voice of God, like Kal-El, like Superman. And
Yes.
that's him laughing uncontrollably while playing Minecraft in the background. But um, that was his name. So to me, when it came to five and not knowing if I could have a kid and everything else that comes with childbirth, with black women and the maternal death rate, and his heart, both our heart rates dropped, and he had to be born emergency C-section, like all of that. And I still remember, and this is addressed also in the movie, like it's pitch black. I've all I could hear like the hospital sounds. I've given birth, and my friend calls me, and she goes through the particular, and the next thing she says is, "Have you heard about Ferguson?" So it's like my child isn't even 24 hours old before I have to reckon with that he's a black man. Because that's exactly what she said. She said, because we were both pregnant at the same time. She was having a daughter. And
Yes.
she's like, "You're raising a baby that's going to grow into a black man. And I need you to take care of yourself and take care of him."
My God.
So when it came to five and why I named it five, there are a couple things. Um, as an artist myself, I fell in love with Shakespeare when I was 16. I always felt like Maya Angelou, that Shakespeare had to be a black woman because no one writes pain like
Wow.
Shakespeare.
Okay.
So It's the end of Sonnet 18, and he says, "So long as man can breathe and eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee." So it's our left behind pieces that tell the story of who we are. Like when you're looking for any ancient civilization, you look for the art, right? You look
Yes.
for the scrolls, you look for the writing, you look for what they left behind that tells the story of the people.
Mm.
So also one of the first caves, where it shows human presence is through art and through, our hands, when we're putting up like five, like those five fingers, it's a I was here. I was here and I mattered type thing.
Okay.
So I use that in correlation with the whole thing of, when he is five is when he starts big kid school. There's no more daycare and he's just exposed. And I myself learned a lot about race when I was five. So five to me is a really big number when it comes to growth and development, especially for Black and Brown children.
Oh, that actually makes perfect sense. I love the way that you framed it. I love the symbolism attached to the humanity of five fingers against the wall, and obviously, it's a really sobering thing to have to take in the notion that at 5 years old, like we, and by we I mean little black boys and black men become something other than human in the eyes of authority sometimes, and
Right.
that's a terrifying feeling. It's terrifying to know that a mother could send a son to Mississippi for the summer and he not come home, or you know, or that Tamir Rice could be a 12-year old being called a grown man,
Right.
um, and shot down in less than 1 second. Um, and so when you talk to me about these things, it definitely makes a great deal of sense to me why you felt compelled uh, to speak directly to this. But there is actually a nexus between um, what's happening in present day and your experiences growing up here in Mississippi. You're originally from Duck. Is it Duck Hill, Mississippi, that you're really from?
It's kind of like my folks are from Duck Hill. When my parents divorced, we moved to Kilmichael. So it's that whole Montgomery County area, basically.
Can you tell us a little bit about Montgomery County for some of us who may not be really familiar with that area?
Montgomery County is about 100 miles northeast of Jackson. Um, Duck Hill, Mississippi has a very long and sordid history. Oh, also to back, one other thing I want to put on, when your babies are born, they always count their fingers, to make sure they got five fingers and five toes. So I wanted to put that in there. The whole thing else about, five of being human, when do you lose your humanity, your fingers and your toes? And with Duck Hill, Mississippi, it's only 1 mile, but it was one of the sites of the worst lynchings in U.S. history. And when I was a kid growing up, my grandmother told me about hearing these men in the woods screaming. And I was about five at the time. And that, my whole thing was, well, why couldn't you let them out? I didn't understand, why couldn't you let them out? And then I kind of pushed the story out for a minute. I didn't really think about it. I just pushed it out of my head until I got to college at Jackson State University. And when I was studying art there, I came across an art piece that someone had with these lynching images in it. And they had kind of written over, like, why couldn't you let them out? And at the bottom, these images came from Life magazine and they were taken in Duck Hill, Mississippi. And then everything that my grandmother taught me came back to me. So when you mentioned George Floyd, when George Floyd's death was going viral, we were standing in the same spot that those two men were lynched.
Jeez.
Um, Myself and my crew. So
Wow. Take your time.
So it's just a lot of weight. But then at the same time that all that's going on, I had to reckon with that. You know, I had to reckon with that, and I'm still making peace with that. You know, I feel like a lot of time my son is the reason why I really became more involved as an activist as well,
Mhm.
because essentially, as a black woman, it's just a part of my parenting. Like I got to make sure he's straight, and then I got to round everybody else up to get them
Mhm.
straight too to protect him as best as I can, you
Mhm.
know. So that's Duck Hill is a huge part of what made me. It's the final resting ground of a lot of my family members, and I still have some family there now. So it was very pertinent to me to go back and face those areas and walk that ground and um, try to make sense and a little bit of peace. Because at the same time, what I found out in Duck Hill about that part about those men lynched, there's also, my grandfather gave the land for one of the first black schools there, and he faced issues. And I took my mom back and she talks me through her whole thing with integration. It's one thing when you read about Brown versus Board of Education, but then right there with us, we have living history. So I
Yeah.
went back with her and we talked about that day and what all happened. So Duck
Yeah.
Hill is a huge chapter in making me me.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you for giving us some framework because I'm gonna get a little deeper into Doug Hill. I remember specifically when you and I were talking on the phone, uh, you had very particular memories about experiences that you yourself and your brothers, I believe,
Yeah.
had in Doug Hill. Would you be willing to share some of that and how that impacted you uh, growing up as a black woman here in Mississippi with black
Yeah.
brothers?
That's also addressed in the film. It wasn't so much, it was Duck Hill, and then my parents divorced, and my mom moved to Kilmichael. So these
Okay.
incidents happened in Kilmichael, Mississippi.
Okay.
That's one L, not two.
Okay.
It's Kilmichael, but it was 1988 and 1993, and the documentary will go into more detail in those areas. But there were two times that the Klan came to see my brother. About the first incident was it was always something about a white woman. The first incident was is this girl said call used the N word on the bus. He called her out about it. It blew up. It
Mm.
blew up. And then next thing I know, I'm 8 years old, and there are people with shotguns and rebel flags riding behind our bus
Wow.
and
Your school bus.
school bus. This is 1988,
You were 8 years old.
and I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old. And then when I was about 13, my brother was like cleaning out this shed. We got our sheds in the backyard with
Right.
friends of his, and this person, this young white guy that he went to school with, accused him of saying something to his girlfriend, whistling at his girlfriend. So then here they come and in our yard with shotguns and rebel flags
Jesus.
and threatening him. And he's like, my mother plays a huge role in that because this is kind of like a little bit of a little bit of an insight on the movie, but I went back. Like, not only did we talk about Brown versus Board of Education and our experiences growing up, we
Mhm.
went back to the same ground where those incidents happened, with the shotguns and rebel flags.
Wow.
And then she tells me her point of view. Because, as a kid, I'm
Mm.
shielded from so much. But
Mhm.
she tells me what she saw in her point of view, which is really good. One part she says, that she sees my brother run through the house and and he has a shotgun. And he's like, I'm gonna take these folks out. And she takes it from him. It's like, give it to me, I'll do it. You go to
Oh
prison, you give it
my
to me and I'll
God.
do it.
Wow. The the burden of a black woman. My goodness, is so real. It's so I wanna take what you just shared just now and really just frame that because when we imagine a lot of times when we talk about lynchings, when we talk about the Klan, Um, we we often see imagery of black and white footage from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, but the incidents that you were referring to just now are situations that happened in 1988 and 1993. We're
Yeah.
talking about when A Different World was on TV. We're
Right.
talking about when Public Enemy was rapping "Fight the Power." You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when NWA was in Compton, straight out of Compton. So like this, you know what I mean? This isn't black and white in the sense that it's some remote time in which this is occurring. This is the Klan following your school bus when you were an 8 year old in 1988,
Right.
and uh, and so to understand contextually that this was what some parts of Mississippi was, and some many parts of the United States was at that time. Uh, I think really helps the audience to understand the type of anxiety that we as Black folk grew up with. As a result of these experiences
Right.
at this time, and how that's compounded for a Black woman, a Black mother, um, one who is willing to die for the son she carried for 9 months. The one who says, "Give me the gun because you got to be here."
Right.
Uh, that's that's so damn deep. I mean, like that's very. When you said that, it sent a chill down my spine. So, I want to talk a little bit, uh, Talamika, about who all is involved with this project with you, how you got it off the ground, how you got it, how it came to fruition as far as being more than a vision, and who you're excited to talk about being a part of this journey with
I really had a diverse group of people working with me, and it was super cool. Like Michael Williams has done so much work, and he was at the time one of the I don't even know what the correct term is. He was over the mag, and he and I met each other before. When we did the whole festival. He was over the Magnolia Film Festival,
you. Hmm.
so he, along with a group of other people, were like, you could do this. You can really do this. I had shot some B-roll with my Nikon before and showed him some of that, but he had the good stuff. So um, Michael Williams, amazing photographer, cinematographer, and friend. He did a good bit of the camera work
Hmm.
on drone and on photo. Who took the legendary photo is none other than Rory Doyle, who's I don't know if you guys are familiar with his Black Cowboy series. And Rory, what's great about him is that he's originally a journalist, like that's his degree, and he just fell into photography. And there's a way that he photographs people, particularly Black people, that I thought that he himself was Black. Um,
And I think I pulled up on the screen. I'm not sure if the audience can see it.
yeah,
Pulled up for the audience uh, that photo that you're referring to. And can you just take us into that photo a little bit? Can you see it?
I can. Whew,
Okay.
that photo. Um, that photo is a little over a year old. So, how that photo came to be, hmm, like everybody during the past 4 years of Trump, but more so being a military wife, it's just so angry. Not only that, let me just fast forward to being a Black woman in America. When I'm 5 years old, I'm a bit of a loyalist. So when I was 5 years old and I put my little hand over my heart and pledged that allegiance, like I meant that. I meant that. And then when I grow up and realize that, oh, that don't mean you. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, except you. That don't mean you. So it's always you got to do this, you got to do that. Come over here, do this thing. You got to work hard. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And it's always changing the goalposts. Then you let this thing, like, we're not supposed to be cool with Russia.
Oh, did I lose the sound with you?
Um,
Okay, we're back. You back? Okay, you're good.
yeah. And so, we're not supposed to be cool with Russia. We're not supposed to be this. All these things that Obama was. I know all the stuff that he had to cross, not to get to the presidency. And that thing that they wound up putting in office, you know,
Listen, a damn fool for real. I mean,
an
a whole
idiot.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, there was
can't
a
even
whole
spell coffee. Like,
yeah.
what is you
It was
doing?
a whole nother level for sure. Mm,
So
I know.
it was that.
Mhm.
I forgot what it was. Yeah, one of my first protests was actually protesting his visit to the Civil Rights Museum, the opening of the Civil Rights Museum.
Okay.
Um, and I was just angry and angry and angry and angry. And I was trying to figure out what to do with that, and hurt and broken and all of these things. So before I usually wake up in the morning, I usually have this time where I'm working on anything art wise right before I get up in the morning where it's really clear of what to do. So I had the idea that I'm going to burn a MAGA hat. That was the first thing. But the whole way, the course of all things, smoking cigars ain't ladylike. And I've smoked them for a while, but I usually don't display it. It's something I just enjoyed in private. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay. And I got with another group of black women, artists, friends of mine, Sabrina Howard. Sabrina Howard actually did the earrings because I told her my idea. She's like, "Ooh, I got a pair of earrings that'll go perfect for that." So the earrings with the Africa and the Mississippi, those are hers.
Shout out to
Uh,
Sabrina. It's a good
yes,
a good sister right there for real.
awesome, amazing, incredible being who's
Yes,
insanely talented. I love me
absolutely.
some Brie. Um, so she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get you the earrings." So we did all of that, and I told everybody I knew I was gonna do the documentary, and I know that I had to put burning this hat in there. So on the day of the shoot, I almost backed out of the cigar, almost. Um, and then we had a conversation about it. They were like, "No, you got to do it." So I had someone donated me that hat.
Okay.
So I had
That's good.
yeah, somebody donated me that hat. So I had Rory out, and we had talked about this shot. This was one of the last shots that we took on the last day of shooting. And finally, we got down to burning the hat, and he just did an amazing job with all of those shots. And this is the one in particular that, like, literally set the world a bit on fire because, like, I've got orders and comments from Brazil. I have followers in Brazil now.
Wow.
That print sold in, I sold a lot in Switzerland and France and the UK and everywhere. I think all 50 states. I want to say all 50 states. Someone
My
bought those
God.
prints. And
It's amazing.
once a friend of mine was out with another friend. She was in Seattle, and her and her friend she had seen in a while. They were talking, and she had saved the image as her screensaver.
Wow.
So then she
This
FaceTimes me, and Issa Rae and freaking Thanos himself, Josh Brolin, likes this picture.
wow.
So
That's powerful. I mean, it's and I think it speaks to the very real, very deep issue of people really understanding what
right,
was at stake, what type of danger this this man presented to all of us. You know what I mean? Like
right,
uh to humanity itself. And the fact that he would protect uh the very same type of people that you have concerns about as it relates to your 5 year old. The very people that followed that school bus in 1988, or that came knocking on those doors in 1993. And
Right.
so, in that regard, look, that's terrifying. What I'd like to do now is you sent us a pretty dope trailer. Uh, I'd like to get into that trailer a little bit. Here, you actually sent. We can watch both. Um,
Okay.
the first one that we are gonna take a look at, I believe, is actually introduction or like the maybe like the first minute or so of the film.
Yes, the first one is actually the first minute into the film itself, and I definitely have to say, huge, huge, huge shout out to Kiese, who with this project, once this image, she was one of the first people, first celebrities to share this image and played a role in it going viral.
Mhm,
And I was actually recovering from surgery while all of that was going viral,
mhm.
and he and I were texting back and forth, and I had to go fund me because doing a movie is expensive. So I had to
Yeah,
go fund me, and I wanted to create music, custom music for this piece because I felt like that it needed it, and I
mhm.
didn't have the funds, so I was trying to raise the money for it. So Kiese was like, "How much you need?" And then he just sent it to me.
Damn,
So
that's a beautiful
huge,
thing. And for those who don't know, Kiese, you should. Kiese Layman is a best-selling author with books, amazing, incredible books like Long Division uh, and Heavy, uh, both of which you should read. Uh, and shout out, and we wishing him good health as
right,
well. You know, get
right.
well soon, Kiese. We and he's their brothers from Mississippi as well. So shout out to Mississippi sticking together and supporting each other and helping to propel art forward, propel black stories forward, and to encourage continue the encouragement of our creativity. So
Yes,
uh very excited to know that you all are working together on this project. I believe very deeply in what it is you do, what it is he does, and I think that those powers combined will uh, definitely lead to something incredible. So, with those things being said, let me share this screen, pull up this tab, and we're gonna get into this just this first few this first minute of five a mother's journey here.
it is the first sound we ever make. Deep in the wombs of our mothers, two cells become many. Life becomes possibility, and our hearts begin to beat. We start to build cells, build memories, grow, nestle, and become. Hey. He's here? Yup. How much did he weigh? 6 pounds, 6 ounces. How long was he? 19 inches. Have you heard about Ferguson? Answered after a Saturday run. Uh-oh.
So that's the. Uh oh. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Could you hear the audio just then?
I did. It cut out for a minute, and then the very last part of it came back.
Hey, that's the magic of streaming on social media live, man. Wi-Fi be hating sometimes, but uh, that scene, that scene, short clip, and I'll drop it down, and I think I can drop that link down so that if anybody wants to see it, they can. Uh, that clip was really compelling, and in it, you can hear the the sister talking to you and asking you about your newborn baby in that moment. It's a phone call between you two, and um, what she asks you is, "How big is he?" And you tell him how much he weighs and how long he is. And the very next question she asks you is, "Did you hear about first?"
Yeah.
So literally, you don't even have a moment to truly enjoy the moment
Right.
uh, with your newborn son and with your husband, because essentially you're dealing with the reality that he's being born into a moment where black people are fighting for their lives,
Yeah. And,
literally fighting for their lives.
and the thing was, it's like in that up until that moment, so was I in bringing him into the world.
Yes, real. Now that's very real. Literally, every time a black woman goes into the hospital, that's fighting for her life is a reality, um, as we know, based on the statistics that show as much, particularly as it relates to black women giving birth here in the United States of America, and
Yeah.
the mortality rate. It's a direct result of that. Um, I want to set up this next clip. Now, this is my first time seeing this particular one. I believe it's the trailer number three. I think it's has text with it. So
Hmm.
I think people can just watch it, read it, and hopefully they'll be able to hear it, and it won't cut out on the stream. But I'm gonna just allow that one to be set up now, and I'm gonna share it with the audience so they can take a look at that.
Okay.
That was great. Uh, That was really good. So, five, a mother's love.
A
Um,
mother's five. What is it? A
a
mother's
mother's
journey.
journey. Five, a mother's journey. Uh, when is it coming? When should we be able to see it in its entirety? And where
Um,
can we see it in its entirety?
October 2nd. Right now, it's making a festival run, as you can see through some of the laurels. We've been in 14 festivals thus far, 13 or 14, and won about 13 or 14 different awards. Can't really remember, but locally, it will be seen October 2nd at the Alamo. We will have the premiere with Rita Brent as the host. After done, there will be a paneling with myself and KSA, where we'll invite the audience to ask questions. At the same time that it will be at the Alamo, it will also be held virtually, so you could get your tickets online as well, because we'll be streaming the event that night too. So yeah, October 2nd. Right now it's in festival run, so you can't really um, see that much when it's it's not out and released to the general public until that day. I don't know when we'll have another one, but I know October 2nd, and it's free and open to the public. There's no cost whatsoever. What else I got to cover? We want to thank our sponsors, the Mississippi Humanities Councils, Black with No Chaser. Thank you. Silk Culture, and a couple others that we have that are coming in. So, um, yeah, I think that's when you can see it. And I'm a
Okay.
bit nervous about it, but yeah.
I don't think you have anything to be nervous about. I know that you're very thoughtful in how you deliver art in the past. This is clearly art. This is clearly a passion for you, a passion that should be for all of us. This is about our lives, and I think you are telling a story uh, for a great many of us, Mississippians, Black Mississippians, uh, Black mothers, little Black boys, Black families, and so and those that actually give a damn. And so, in that regard, I think that you don't have anything to be worried about. This is a beautiful project. I am looking forward to us ensuring that we throw our full support behind it, making sure that it's amplified and that people know about it, and that they know what compelled you to make such an incredible project. And again, that's in October at the Alamo here in Jackson, Mississippi,
It starts at 7.
at 7 o'clock. October what day?
Second,
October 2nd,
the first Saturday in October.
the first Saturday in October. So get ready, get your outfits ready.
Yes, because it is red carpet.
See there,
It's a red carpet event.
see there, uh, and be ready for it, y'all. It's coming.
Your mask, all COVID protocols. Vaccinated people preferred. If you ain't got your vaccine yet, you may just want to check it out online.
Okay,
Above all, we want to keep everybody safe. So there'll be social distancing in between people, hand sanitizer, vaccines. A mask are mandated. You cannot come in without a mask. You
okay,
got to keep it on.
all right. So wear your mask. If you're vaccinated, we appreciate it. And you know, hey, listen, we're looking forward to seeing you at Five A Mother's Journey on October 2nd at the Alamo.
Yes.
It's gonna be a beautiful and powerful moment, a beautiful convening of the community. And again, Talamika, we thank you so much for this labor of love that you produced. Uh, thank you for allowing us to be a part of it in some way. And thank you for telling our stories. With that being said, y'all, I'm CJ Lawrence, the CEO. Before we go, before I sign off, make sure they know where they can find you.
Oh, Talamieka, Talamieka. My website is talamieka.com. That's pretty much my handle on all my social media. If you want to just everything in one spot, you go to my website, and my social media links are in the bottom of my website.
Okay, so y'all heard that. It's spelled the same way I have it down here in the graphic here. That's an Instagram page as well, so you can follow on Instagram. And yeah, y'all. With that being said, I'm CJ Lawrence, CEO of Black with No Chaser, and as always, think black, live black, unapologetically. We
All
out.
right.
Peace.